The studio lights burned hot against John Kennedy's face as he leaned forward, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. The debate had already been tense, but now he saw an opportunity, an opening to humiliate Jasmine Crockett, the young congresswoman known for her fierce intelligence and unwavering advocacy for justice. Cameras rolled, millions watched, and John's voice dripped with sarcasm as he fired a mocking question designed to trip her up. The audience chuckled, sensing the tension rising, but what no one noticed, not even John himself, was that Jasmine's mic was still on, quietly picking up the whisper of her heartbreak and resolve. The moment that would change both of their lives forever had already begun. Jasmine sat still for a heartbeat, eyes steady, chest tight. Inside, a storm raged. She'd worked too hard, faced too many odds to let someone like John reduce her to a punchline. But instead of snapping back, she took a slow breath and let his words sink in, each one a test of her grace. She remembered the people back home who believed in her, the single mothers who told her she gave them hope, the students who said she inspired them to speak up. Her mic caught the soft sound of her whisper. They mock what they fear. It wasn't meant to be heard, but every soul watching heard it clear as day. And silence swallowed the room. John froze for a moment, not realizing the weight of what had just happened. He forced out a laugh to cover the awkwardness, pretending not to notice the sudden shift in the crowd's energy. But the viewers did. Twitter exploded within minutes. Clips of Jasmine's quiet remarks spread like wildfire, and hashtags began to trend. They mock what they fear. Jasmine speaks truth. The power dynamic flipped in an instant, and the smirk on John's face turned into something closer to confusion, then regret. He'd meant to embarrass her, but somehow he had only revealed his own insecurity. After the cameras stopped rolling, Jasmine walked backstage with her head held high, though her heart raced with emotion. A producer stopped her, eyes wide. "You just broke the internet," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. All she'd done was speak the truth, something she'd been doing her whole life, but this time the world had listened. She thought about the years of being underestimated, of having her words dismissed until someone else repeated them louder. Now her whisper had become a roar. Meanwhile, John sat alone in his dressing room, replaying the clip on his phone again and again. Every time he heard her words, something inside him twisted. He hadn't realized how cruel he'd sounded, how small. For years, he'd built his career on confidence and charm, but now all he saw was arrogance. The internet was tearing him apart, but more than that, he couldn't shake the truth behind her words. They mock what they fear. What had he been afraid of? Losing control? Losing relevance? Maybe he'd just been afraid of being wrong. Days later, Jasmine received an invitation from a late-night show to talk about the moment. She hesitated. She didn't want to turn it into gossip or revenge. It had to mean something. When she finally sat under the warm glow of a different set of lights, she spoke with calm conviction. "We all get mocked," she said softly, "especially when we stand for something. But if you let their laughter make you silent, they win. And silence never changed the world." The audience erupted in applause, not because she'd won an argument, but because she'd won their respect. The clip of that interview became a lesson replayed in classrooms, boardrooms, and even homes where little girls were told to stay quiet. Jasmine's whisper had become a movement, a reminder that dignity could defeat disrespect. People began sharing their own stories of being mocked for speaking up, tagging her words as a banner of resilience. For the first time in years, Jasmine felt that the pain of being underestimated had served a greater purpose. She hadn't planned it, but her vulnerability had sparked a revolution of courage. John watched it all unfold from the sidelines, the weight of guilt pressing on him like a stone. One evening, he decided to reach out, not with a PR statement, but with sincerity. He called her office, unsure if she'd even take his call. To his surprise, she did. "I owe you an apology," he said quietly. "You taught me something I should have learned long ago, that mocking someone doesn't make you powerful. It just shows you're afraid of what they represent." There was a pause. Then Jasmine said simply, "Then start representing something better." Months passed, and the next time they met, it wasn't across a debate stage. It was at a youth leadership summit. where both were invited to speak. The tension was gone. Instead, there was mutual respect. John introduced her with grace, acknowledging her strength, and when she took the stage, she looked at him with forgiveness in her eyes. "Redemption," she said to the crowd, "isn't about pretending we never made mistakes. It's about what we do after we realize them." The crowd cheered, not for her, not for him, but for what their story had become, a reminder that humility and courage can coexist. As the years went by, that one night on live TV became a symbol, not of humiliation, but of awakening. People remembered how a whisper cut through noise, how truth silenced mockery, and how kindness could follow conflict. Jasmine went on to become a leading voice for justice, while John used his platform to mentor young leaders in respectful debate and empathy. Their paths, once divided by pride, had converged on something higher, growth. And in the quiet moments, both of them remembered that the microphone, like the truth, never really turns off.